Wombynhood Illuminated podcast.
I know.
Oh,
What a gift.
I know. It's been such a long time coming.
I know. It really has. And it was interesting because the first time you asked me, I was so excited. And then I got sick and got a sore throat and couldn't speak.
I know.
And
then
now
life
we're
happened.
here. Life happened.
Yeah.
And here we are.
But you know what? The journey from then, that's been like 6 months.
Which is
Isn't that mad?
Aye.
And the journey from then to now, I'm like, of course you landed here today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because as we do, there's been a million conversations before right now, but like the thread, I've seen it, like it's so apparent, I feel, for arriving here, why it's happened today. Yeah.
I would agree. I find it, even though we have plans in our heads and ideas of how things should be, there's always this thread of mystery that's just weaving its own magic and inviting us through different doors and opportunities and gifts. And then we arrive and we're like, that's why.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful.
The human gets out of the way and the mystery steps in and it does the weaving. You think you're in control and the master weaver's weaving away and it's like, oh yeah, you only think I have different plans for you, you know?
Yes. I know. I actually, I don't think any of us have as much control. Like you say, we think we have control over things and we like to have control.
Yeah.
Human beings like the idea that we know exactly what's happening and we need to know. And this is why this path can be really challenging for a lot of people, because that need to know can override the joy of the experience and the remembrance that happens if we can surrender and do what's actually possible. Just by trusting ourselves and the path and the not knowing. Yeah. The not needing to know what every door will open. You know, I think there's something really nice in that.
I feel like that's the perfect start for my preamble. We're just straight in there, folks. So I just want to say welcome, Genevieve. This is Genevieve McGuinnes. Welcome, Genevieve.
Thank you.
Genevieve has been a long-time mentor of mine on my spiritual journey and a soul sister, and it's been a real honour to be on this path with you because as I've reflected to you, you know, I always have had the blessing of you've gone first.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, or I'm feeling into something and then you birth this thing and I'm like, oh my God, Genevieve's gone first. So it kind of removes the fear.
Yeah.
But like speaking to surrendering to the mystery and the ministry of the mystery, you know, like your life has been testament to that.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because we were here at a beautiful gathering not that long ago, and I was introducing you to a lovely friend from America, and who you so lovingly welcomed into your home as well.
Shout out to Colleen.
Colleen, hello,
Hi.
she's going to love that. Hello, Colleen. But you said that those words, thank you for going first, and I never really see myself as going first, if that makes sense. It's like just the way my life has moved me, I've often just felt compelled to just keep moving and keep showing up and keep doing whatever it is. Like this journey began not through me going first, say. It was like very unexpected. I wasn't looking or searching for anything. It just happened that someone came into my experience that needed help, and they were a minor, and I couldn't help this young person. And I got really, really angry, and I got really, I would say ill. I got angry and really like frustrated in trying to help this young person. And as we do when we're people who want to help and support, I tried all the avenues, all the right places and spaces. And when none of that supported, I fell and just on my knees one night after not sleeping again, thinking about this young person. And I sent a prayer up and I says, I don't even know if you're real. I don't even know if there's anything out there. But if there is, don't bring me people I can't help and give me what I need to be able to help them. And it wasn't as polite as that, but that was the gist.
The true God conversations, yeah.
Because none of them are as polite as that when we're on our knees and something's asking for change.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, there was change. And within a few weeks, we'd found a new home. And then I started to have angelic experiences. And I never felt love like it. I've never been able to describe it since. But what I do know is that feeling and that connection to soul was something that I was to start bringing other people into. And so I call it a path of remembrance now, because for me, it's not necessarily awakening into something new. This is ancient. This is who we are. It's what we are. And piece by piece, we start to remember, and we start to weave together a bigger picture of what's possible when we're in touch with that divine part of ourselves. And there's so much beauty in that. And it's gifted me so much peace and healing in what isn't always an easy life.
Freaking right.
You know?
Oh, thank you for speaking to that, because that's exactly how I feel. And that's why we were always meant to come into each other's spiral. It's like when you were born, before you descended into the womb, you know, you were the divine, and that is the truth of our soul essence. And you come into the womb, and the children remember, of course, because they were so close to be, like, they're close to where they were before they descended into the womb. And as time goes on, we do forget. And then the remembrance, I love that word. It's the remembering, like I often describe it. It's like in some part of your psyche, you've been dismembered. And it's like coming into this wholeness, you know, walking home to the wholeness of who you are, and remembering, oh, actually, I'm not dismembered. That's been a psychic break in my mind, but actually I'm a whole divine being.
Yes, a whole divine being. I feel like the whole path that I've been on from that point in 2009 has been the integration of my divinity into my humanity. And the biggest gift in that is the amount of compassion I've been able to cultivate for my humanity. And I often say to people, like, if you are starting to use your path of remembrance, your soul journey, your spiritual path, faith, religion, however it is, if you start to use that as a way to beat yourself up, to make yourself feel worse than, then you've taken a detour, and it's not towards your divinity. You've moved on to something else that's distracting you from what's true.
It's so true. Because like this has came up a lot, even in the space. So we had a gathering here at my home to celebrate me moving into a new season of my life.
And it's a beautiful season.
It is. It's an exciting one. It is an exciting season. Terrifying and exciting. But
the best
you know,
things are terrifying.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah. And it's been a whole journey of surrender.
Yeah.
But in that space, it was a sacred space. We gathered around a fire and it was really beautiful, and we sang songs and we laughed, and you know, there was a bit of ceremony there, and there's this part of, like what you said, like integrating the divinity and the humanity, because you're here, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And the big part of that is, like when you said there about your spiritual path kind of taking you off course, I feel like there's this part around being serious that has came up a lot for me. And I'm such a playful, childlike person. And the children are so much more connected to the divine, because they're more in the present. They only live in the present moment. And they're very embodied, and they just are so much more in their joy because of that. And there's no bullshit, because they haven't had a chance for all them layers. And there's no layers of crap has been placed upon them yet. And it's like there's this bit around, like, if your spiritual journey has taken you into this, like, I must be so serious, and you know, always and like, dude, you've lost the way, because like,
agree.
There's a sense, like, there's been guru masters, inverted commas, of like, you know, people who have lived a path, like a Buddhist monk. And I remember telling a friend of mine this story because we were talking about this, and like, and they were known for, like, randomly while they were doing their morning meditation, throwing fruit at random students to be like, stop taking yourself, like, that was a lesson. It was like, I'm going to snap you out of it, and like, obviously that's what they were there to do, but it was this like juxtaposition reminder of being like, you know, sometimes the universe likes to throw fruit at you and remind you to go, okay, this is hilarious, this massive cataclysmic, sometimes what feels like a cataclysmic event is happening in your life, and the universe is going
it's so funny. Do
you know what I mean?
But it is absolutely true. And like, when you think of Wayne's, like, children and the innocence, they say it takes little to amuse the innocent, right? So when people can seriously just laugh at the silliest things, and other people go, that's not funny, but it really, really is. I just feel like going, they've missed something. That if your lightness leaves you,
Yes.
if the lightness leaves you and you become this serious soulful person, there's a place for that.
Of course there is.
There's a place for that part, but bring all of you.
Yes.
Bring the innocence and the playfulness and the parts of you that actually light up the room naturally. Because if you're not naturally a serious person, then how can you seriously sit there and guide and mentor in that way? It would feel very unnatural, unauthentic,
yeah,
not true to you or me or whoever it is that we're holding space for. And so many people have said to me in private, because I can appear very serious online. And so many people says to me in private, but you're so funny.
You're such a gag.
We're
just gags together.
I am.
To be a gag.
And then I'd be like, I know. And it's like that
in the
part,
best way.
And that part of me doesn't always come to light online.
Of course, yeah.
Because I'm talking about serious topics, do you know?
Because you have a window to do this thing.
A frame
yeah.
to gift something valuable.
Yes.
And I do want that space to gift something valuable.
Of course,
do you know, you want to be reachable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a joy in being able to sit like this in the lightness of things that are hard and in the lightness of things that really ask more of us. And there's a beauty in allowing ourselves to just go, do you know what, this is hard right now, but it is also really fucking funny, like. And being able to see the cosmic joke. And I was just sharing with Ruth earlier, the biggest cosmic joke is I have a wee report when I was 11 and I wrote, I want to live on my own in a wee cottage in a garden of roses. And I live with 6 children and a husband. So that is a joke on me for sure. But what a gift, like, do you know, but at the same time, it's quite funny because that young part of myself was like, just want to be by myself.
I've had enough of my family. Get everyone away. I want hermit energy.
Which is hilarious. So we change and we grow into who we were always supposed to be if we allow ourselves the space. If we remember who we're meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to really just clarify for people who've never came across you before.
Yeah.
I know we were trying to talk about what is it that we do. And it's so multifaceted. And how do you put this into a sentence, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if I was to summarize you, I feel like you're a soul diviner or diviner, a soul diviner for people, like a soul-led leadership.
Yeah.
And energetic work. That to me is what, like, and that's very, like, it's so, because there's so many aspects to what you do, and it's like, I want to put a broad title on it, but like, can you share a bit of what it is, the work that you're birthing right now? Let's just go with what right now, because there's been so much, so let's go with right now.
So right now, I do feel like I do lead souls back to the heart of their soul. Yeah. So like, I feel like we forget the soul, we forget the divine parts of ourselves. And we get caught up in the humanity. And then I also equally see that people get caught in the spiral of divine consciousness and that they can't ground into their humanity. Yeah. And I feel like I bridge something in there that gives people an anchor that solidifies their journey and inspires them then to really anchor and root into who they are. And they start to express it and share it with ease and confidence and clarity. I think what I really create is safety. And what I'm in right now is I've been birthing work. Like, I am an energy practitioner and I started off with energy work and I'm very passionate about it. And I believe it is going to be a very big future part of wellness. And I feel it will support so much of us. Like, energy work supports us physically, emotionally, mentally and spiritually. Yeah. And there's so much to it. And yet there's a simplicity to it as well, and the intention of the energy that we all cultivate. And like, we're energy beings. I don't believe we're just a physical being, for example.
Well, it's scientific fact that we're energy beings.
Yeah, it's been scientifically proven that we are energetic beings, and if we're energetic beings, then your energy impacts my energy and my energy impacts yours. And it also means that we have the ability to transfer energy and support someone energetically so that they can do what they need to do within themselves. And so I've been birthing a body of work that started to move through in 2011. And as fast as I appear, the embodiment of my work has been a slow process because I like to test, experiment, stay curious, open. And I really like to test myself. I want to really make sure that if I'm sharing something that is birthing through me, that I really do believe in it, trust it, and that I'm not sharing something with someone that's going to leave them more confused about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of confusion in the spiritual path.
Yep.
And people, it makes them doubt themselves more and more and more.
Yeah.
And I like to clear that path so
Yeah.
that the doubt leaves the room. And so I birthed a body of work that I call Linnea Kea. And the name Linnea Kea, I didn't expect it to become such a talking point, but a lot of people don't understand how to say it. And I found that I started to sing it to help people say it. I'm not singing it.
Go ahead.
But Linnea Kea, and the word itself, it means immense heavens. And it represents a cluster of stars.
Wow.
And it was actually my son, I was doing a science reading with him. And we came across the word Linnea Kea. And I hadn't a word for the actual work itself. And then it landed. And then I was able to bring it.
Wow.
And so that's a big part of what I've been bringing. And that spiraled and inspired me to start writing a book into the ethics of energy work. And it's not that I'm necessarily an authority on it, but I feel I've experienced it on both ends of the spectrum, and I've held enough people and communities and groups to see where there's something missing there in terms of the ethics of the community, of energy work itself, and safety.
Everything you've been saying, the word that has been constantly coming to me is integrity.
Yeah.
And that's integral to this work.
Yeah.
When you're holding, like, the minute somebody lies on a bed, whether you put your hands on them physically or not, it is such a sacred honor to be gifted that permission.
100%.
And that needs to be treated with that level of respect. And I feel like that's the piece that you are birthing, which is integrity. It's like there has to be ethics and morals behind this work, because there is so many. This goes for, and this has came up in quite a lot of podcast episodes to this one, but in a lot of these fields of work, whether it's energy work or counselling or like anything, there is a lot of these ways to be certified fast without embodying the work.
Yes.
So there are people go and they train, and then boom, they train in this level, then they train in this level, like weekend after weekend, all in 1 month or in the space of a couple of months, and then suddenly they're a practitioner and they haven't embodied any of the work. They haven't experienced it to receive it, to give it over a long period of time. And this goes with any kind of like healing work. This goes with plant medicine. I have seen and experienced people, you know, they go on journey after journey after journey, and it's like, whoa, slow your roll. Slow your roll, guys. Just embody one. Let the medicine land.
Please, yes.
Really let it land. And this takes time. It's not as much as we want to get to the end result, which is, oh, look at me, I'm magically fixed and I have my life sorted out. Sorry to break these, folks. It never happens. Like, it's a lot. There's always something.
I will never pretend to have it all figured out.
Because that's life. And that's the beauty of it.
I love that I've come to peace with that. That at the beginning of my journey, I was like, oh, I'm going to heal everything about myself and everything about my family. And it's going to be a beautiful utopia. And I'm a Libran. I want ease and grace and, you know, a utopia. I don't fucking have a utopia. But what I have is peace and contentment here.
So you do have a utopia.
I do, to a
you
point.
Do, yes.
I have arrived in this space and place that really gets and understands that life will still challenge me.
Yes.
But how I meet it now is different. And that's the gift. And that's the gift of really soul remembering, is understanding that we choose a human path, and that human path may challenge. And that part is hard to hold on the ground. But if you've got an anchor and you're connected to that divine part of yourself, and you feel that part hold you, then you don't tip over the edge
Mm.
as much.
Yes.
You know, there would have been a point in my life, especially in my early life, where there was probably more drama than EastEnders, right? And it just followed me everywhere. But of course, it didn't follow me everywhere. I was the drama. Do you know? It was me.
The
And
common denominator
yeah,
was,
you know, and
Yeah.
when we reach that place,
Yeah.
something else happens. But back to that point of the integration and the embodiment of the work,
Yeah.
that became a really important piece and part with Linnea Kea. I was like, I'm not training people in a weekend and sending you up. You can come and train with me for those days, but there is a journey, and I take you on that journey, and I hold you in that space, and we touch on all of the places and spaces that can sneak in as an
Yeah.
energy practitioner, that can hold you back, that can create harm, that you know, you do your work with me. And I am not the kind of mentor that you want to come in, even though I'm light and fun and all of those things. This work is deep inner work, and it requires presence, devotion, and dedication. And you don't get to just skip through something just because you're in a hurry to have a certificate. And I went on a whole journey with the certification and the accreditation thing, because this is soul work.
Yeah.
And this came through my soul. And I was like, how do I accredit my soul? How do I certify my soul? How do I do this in a way that's authentic and true and integrity? And so I danced in all of that as well, because we can be bringing through our soul work, but that was the part that needed to ground into the humanity. In order for energy work to be taken serious on our planet, because we live in this planet, there has to be a process of accreditation in order for you to be taken seriously. And I want this work to be taken seriously. I want this work in wellness centres across the globe.
Yeah.
And it is across the globe in wellness centres. But I see like wellness centres with chiropractors, energy therapists, massage therapists, psychologists, counsellors, you know, herbalists, kinesiologists, and we're supporting the whole person in a holistic way that says this is the root of the emotion and this is the mental field, this is the energetic field. We will get well here.
That is, I think you just spoke to a vision of so many, that lives in my heart. And I have had this conversation with so many people. I'm like, it's a holistic approach. We are not just one thing. Like modern medicine pathologizes, it's separated body from mind even. Like now that is integrating, and now modern medicine, there are hospitals where they have post-op energy work, energy healing work, and they have solfeggio frequency work and sound healing, and it is moving,
and it's all blending.
And
because it's blending, then we as energy workers and therapists, practitioners, whatever word you want to use, then we do have to lift our ethics up. We do have to create something that's solid and says we are safe to work with. And so the book birthed, and I got the title, The Ethical Energy Guide, and I was like, fuck, and I started to write it, and I just finished it, and I was reading through it the other night, and I cried, like, because I was like, this is the book I would have needed and wanted when I started to work energetically with people, because a lot of what's in that book is through my trial and error, things I observed in myself, things I observed in others, you know, and the pitfalls of the work and the ways in which we can support ourselves to make sure that we are the safe, sound place for that person to write, because it's the most intimate space to be invited into someone's energetic soul field. We're seeing past, current, future consciousness in those moments, and there's a lot there to hold, and it deserves reverence and devotion and attention.
I love that, because I just feel like this is a thread that's been weaving over this podcast with every episode is integrity and ethics and morals, and reminding people, like even in a previous episode I said to the audience, to those listening and watching, you know, we all have a personal responsibility to ourselves. We're 100% responsible for ourselves, right? Of course. And so do your due diligence, you know, check in. And we've spoke to, of course, there are people who don't have a qualification, but they've been doing this work for 30 years and they
Aye.
do it with integrity.
They do.
And you can feel that off someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, but again, that in itself is a journey, because we were talking about discernment even
Yes,
earlier,
yes,
that,
we
you know,
were.
like my journey with discerning now and being able to own that, like the crossover between judging and discerning,
Aye.
and knowing when it's something feels aligned with you,
Yeah.
and honouring that,
Aye.
you know.
And really allowing space for the discernment to arrive, and allowing our truth to arrive as well, because there's been a lot of lessons and gifts and openings in this journey, and like particularly even around the feminine, like you spoke into the pilgrimage, that I'm taking like 8 women to France, and it is a Mary Magdalene path, and this path is so, it's a huge part of who I am, a huge part of who you are, Ruth, right? There's been this divine feminine thread that's woven through my soul remembrance from the start, and I didn't even see it at the start. Other people seen it and would refer to me as, "Oh, you're working with the divine feminine." I was like, "Am I?" Didn't know. Like,
Well, even
I
your
was
wee-
painting yonis, like, and I didn't even know I was painting them.
The vision of
Yeah.
the roses at the
vision.
cottage as 11-year-old,
yeah.
there, like the rose is
Aye.
like, yeah.
And all of these beautiful petals have brought me on a path of remembrance. And I'm taking these women to probably one of my oldest mentors. And she's influenced every part of my medicine with women in particular. And I feel this is why my integrity is so clear.
Can you share? Because I feel
So-
like we should always name our mentors.
So her name is Alethea Sophia. She was known as Anea to me. And I actually came across her. I was in England at the time. And I had only started to learn about womb work, and I'd attended a Lisa Lister workshop in Bristol. So she's wrote some incredible books. Definitely recommend those books.
Yep.
And I attended her workshop, and then a friend of mine, Monica, who was an old soul sister, who helped me begin to birth women's circles in her living room. Like, what a bloody gift, you know? And so she introduced me to Anea. And Anea was running a 21-day Kundalini yoga experience. I had no idea what that was, but I felt called to the work. And at the time, I didn't have the money to pay, and I was painting all of the time at the time. And so I just thought, I felt the soul nudge, ask her if she'll receive a painting as a donation.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, I'd painted a picture or a beautiful image of Maiden Mother Crone. And it was beautiful. Oh my God. You're going to have to lift that up to let them see.
My niece arrived at the house today with this gift, which
Maiden
is,
Mother
if
Crone.
you're listening, it's a Maiden Mother Crone little statue, and she just came to the house to give this to me on one's errand
And
today.
she's on a crescent moon. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. I've just noticed the Hathor crescent moon connection. But in the swirl, oh my goodness.
Oh.
But so I asked her, can I gift you a painting and do the 21-day journey? She sent me her address. She says, of course you can. And she put that painting in a Magdalene chapel. And at the time, I wasn't open to Magdalene in the way that I am now. And I just felt very connected. You know, I'd felt Mary Magdalene when I was a young maiden, but hadn't understood what I was feeling. And then I took this 21-day journey, and I had all sorts of things happen. And I was like, what? But basically what happened is I opened up to the energetic Shakti, orgasmic energy. And I was doing one of the 21-day practice, and all of a sudden all of this orgasmic energy started to move through my body with the breath alone. And this is our life force. Because sexual energy is our life force energy. And people fear sexual energy. They fear life force because we're not used to feeling it.
The
or
power.
the power.
Embodying the power.
And so this feeling and this experience changed the direction of my path. And at that point, it was all angels. So I was very high up in the angels, the angelic realms. Everything was angelic. And then
Just
I was
grounded you
into the womb. And then the descent into the humanity, the path, in a different way. And that's when the divine feminine really took me in. And I remember I painted a picture of the Queen of Sheba, and I didn't understand her connection to the King of Solomon. And, you know, all of the stuff started to, and there was this beautiful painting, and I called her Rebirth, and she was incredible. And so this all opened up a whole different direction.
Mm.
And I wanted to understand the womb. I wanted to understand the cosmic energy that was moving through my body. I wanted to understand Kundalini energy. What is this?
Well, there's two things I need to say.
Yeah.
First of all, as a reflection,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you what is Kundalini energy, just for those who don't understand. But I really want to pull on this thread because I've talked about this as well.
Yeah.
You're saying like you had this awakening experience essentially, but these threads kept weaving into your life, and it's something as simple as like Harriet coming with thank you Harriet, but with the maiden Mother Crone statue and the timing and what energies we've been talking about today, and that you came here today, this came here today, the things that happened in my life today unfolded, and it's all connected. And like, because people have asked me like, how do you have these experiences that are like so like, oh geez, you know, these
They're so
profound, and it's like because we open and surrender. And I just wanted to pull that thread because when you're saying about the painting, it's like, because I had this with you when we did our priestess path. I remember sitting, and we did like an activation and a bit of embodiment, and I was all to you and you were like, what is it? And I was like, I literally did this by myself intuitively this week.
Yes.
And I was like, this is like, you know, they're really dropping in and listening and like it just comes up.
And I remember that, and I remember like this feeling and knowing that you will often already be doing the thing before you even find the mentor. But the mentor, it's not that we need outside validation, but the mentor solidifies and gives you a feeling of
validation.
It is validation.
Being seen and
being heard and being met in that energy of who we are. And going, I can trust this.
Yes.
I already felt this. I've already walked this before.
Yes.
And this is me now remembering it and really anchoring it in.
So the Kundalini journey did that for you?
The Kundalini journey really opened up the womb work, the Magdalene work, the path of the rose, all of it.
And so these things all started, like the fact you painted Sheba before
the Queen of Sheba before I even
knew who she was.
No idea. Like I was psychically painting at the time, and I experienced this shamanic journey, and I went to this beautiful woman. And she was doing like this shamanic work, and I had no idea what shamanic work was, but I would have these very vivid journeys. And this particular journey, I'll never forget it. There was all of these like tribal African women dancing towards me, and they danced the mother maiden energy and crone energy back into my body. And I went home and I painted it, and they were all blue black beans, and they were dancing. And I paint with my hands. I can paint with a paintbrush, but when it's shamanic soul work, the hands come out. I'm trying to retrain myself with the brush because I miss the detail of the brush. But I painted this painting alive, and every time I had a shamanic journey, I would paint myself home. That was my integration. And so this journey in life, and to go back, when I used to go to art college as a young person, like I'm still a young person, but kinda, but as like I was going.
This 3-dimensional reality called young, you know. We're ageless.
My 12-year-old at the minute is going, you're so cringe. Please stop. But the journey, I used to be getting the bus to art college, and I used to hear all the time a journey in life through art. And I never really understood that I was healing my life through art. And a big part of that journey when I was in England and the spiritual experiencing was happening after all of the angelic stuff was I was healing myself one painting at a time. And those paintings became my way home to me. And those paintings ended up in oracle cards all across the world, which I never expected when I was painting them. You know, so when we allow the divine to move us and move through us, we open that flow. People are like, how do you do so much stuff? And I'm like, I don't. I allow my soul to flow through me. Yeah. And that's the gift of this life. If we can all just, even in this moment now, if we all just took a breath and imagine what it would be like to allow the soul to flow through us and really gift us a moment to go, wow, that's what that feels like. that's that feeling I get when I'm doing something that feels true to my heart, like. And it's such a gift and it's such a joy. And that's where this journey just took me. But Kundalini energy, you wanted to know? What is Kundalini? Lots of people fancy ways of describing Kundalini energy, and it's a very trendy word at the minute that sells a lot of stuff. Sorry.
It's so true. Yeah, yeah.
But
in a nutshell.
But what Kundalini is your life force energy.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It is the life and soul of your energetic makeup. And it's what activates and opens you from the root through to the crown. And it supports you to move in your soul's direction, really. That's what I feel it is.
100%. I'm like, your Kundalini energy, it's just another word for your energy.
Yes.
Like it, and it's activated in a different way because I suppose you're grounding into a different intention.
It feels sexual because it moves from the root up through the sacral.
But it is because
you're
like all of your energy is sexual because you were created from the act of sex.
Yes. And
so that spark came from conception. So that is life force. That is literally why we're all here.
Yes, because we were conceived through the body of women, and we love to shame women's bodies and diminish
to shame
sex.
Shame
sex.
Yeah.
I love having conversations where we de-shame sex and intimacy and love, because all energy is love.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of the gifts I feel like you and I share, and that I love to bring. Is like there's a running joke now with me, and you even said it coming in the door, being like, "Oh, so are we getting naked tonight? Like, are we going to just get naked?" We discussed doing this podcast naked, you know, just for the crack. Like, but I really think there is a market there for a naked podcast. Do you know what I mean? I really do. I'm sure somebody's done it. Like,
they would cover our nipples, like, because they're
so
so
dear.
terrible.
Oh no, the nipple that gives life to children.
Yes.
Oh, it's so terrible.
It's a horrendous, like, and I like to make light of it as well because there's so much stigma around it. And like my background was one of sexual abuse, like, and that's the story that started my healing journey. Yeah, was to move through that, to heal that, to speak to that. And to not shame myself for actually really being I love the energy of sensual energy. And I used to find that very difficult to hold in my body because of all of the experiences that I had and all of the stories I held around that. So when I was opening to the Kundalini energy and the womb work and the goddess and the divine feminine, what I was really opening to was my innocence, because it never leaves us, not ever. Nobody can take our innocence. There may be experiences that tell us that has been taken, but it cannot be taken.
No. I love that, because we talked before about erotic innocence.
Yes.
And how, like, children touch themselves. Like, little babies. Like, I remember somebody being like, what? Little baby boys have erections? And they're like, what do you mean baby boys have an erection? I'm like, it's just it's like a part of their anatomy.
Part of their anatomy.
Yes, it's a natural biological function that happens. So, like, you have sons, you know this. Like, and so it's like I say, you know, we don't shame children for, like, when they start exploring, they put their hands into their nappies and they play with their feces, and they'll, like, you know, and they eat food with their hands, and because none of that conditioning is there. And so there's no the erotic innocence. What I mean is that the erotic innocence of your naked form, of your beautiful body, of your pleasure, of feeling pleasure, and how pleasure is so multifaceted. Like, we feel pleasure when we eat a really juicy strawberry, and it's like, oh my God, my mouth's watering now even just talking about it.
Well, there's a woman, Maya Luna. She's amazing. I don't know if you know, right? But she shared something one time around how women are erotically turned on by the ocean, the sunset, the taste of something. Like, there's thousands of things that bring in the same energetic feel of erotic energy, sensual energy, and loving energy. And it's less for men, but women, the feminine body, and, you know, we are naturally aroused by a lot of things in life. And there's an innocence to that. And there's a lot of shame and stigma around that. And whilst children may explore, and they do, and it's important not to shame them, it is important to create safety and awareness around, them being private in that. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because there is a way that children are obviously taken advantage of, and there's things there that must be in place to hold children safe.
Yes.
And so when we have children exploring their bodies or things like that, it freaks adults out because we have not got comfortable with our own bodies.
Exactly.
And it scares us, and we want to protect our children, and we want to protect them from things before their, innocence is, how we perceive innocence is taken.
Yes.
But the reality is, if a child is, if there's enough safety created around a child and enough conversation and opportunity around their body being a safe space for them, and what is healthy touch and what is consent and what isn't. Like very early on, my children, I always remember a conversation with my son and daughter, and they were very young. So she wanted to brush his hair, and he didn't want her to, or he wanted to brush her hair, and she didn't want him to. And he was asking, and she said no, and he says, well, that's okay then. And I thought, there you go. If you want to understand consent, that's it. Yeah. Just ask the fucking question and allow space for the answer. Children actually model it all the time, and we do have to guide and teach. And allowing spaciousness. I'm the kind of parent that did inform my children if they were getting out of the bath, right, mommy's going to dry you here, I'm going to dry you there. I would like you to take over this part of your drying of your body because that's your body.
Yes.
And those parts and pieces became important for me as a mommy. And I think and I suppose my background as well. Of course,
yeah.
Because sense. I wanted to empower them to understand that they can say no.
Yes.
And they can say that doesn't feel comfortable.
See that piece? Like, and I know that you and I have both done tantra work as well. That to me is like, we all are just like adult, grown up children. You know what I mean? And that's the part that none of us got educated in.
Yeah.
And that I'm seeing playing out on my bed with the people that I work with is the piece around the erotic innocence and understanding that it's okay to feel these things and there's a safety. And like what we're both doing is creating that safe space for people to be like, well, I can literally just explore physically myself and emotionally myself and energetically myself without shame or any guilt or like, or even anger or fear or whatever it is. And like, because we are just all the erotic innocence of childhood, of just being a fucking life force, energy, soul in a human body.
Well, there's one of my daughters, when she eats, she like, she really like enjoys the sound of her voice when she's eating, and you can tell when she's really enjoying something, but she's like getting a whole experience from whatever it is that she's eating, like. And so I'm not like going not do that, do you know? And I think that's what it is. Even as simple as a child enjoying a piece of fruit and somebody saying, could you eat that less? Enjoy it. No, I always think you can tell how much work an adult has done by how much joy they can be around in children in particular. Adults that struggle with joy around children have, in my experience, have a lot of caring for themselves to do. They haven't managed to find that place in the inside where they can meet the joy again.
Well, their own inner child hasn't been held. Yeah.
And so like you can tell the work done by the way, you know,
they
hold. You know, and it saddens me at times because children often pay the price for the adults not doing whatever it is they need to do, and I have not been perfect in that, and no shape or form. You know,
that's the journey.
Yeah, and I think it's allowing compassion for all of the parts and pieces around this journey, because so much happens and opens and reveals itself time and again, doesn't it? You know,
you said compassion, and that was part of your journey with writing the book around the energy work.
Yeah.
So it's like returning, like, and that is part of the childhood innocence. It's like the compassion you have for a child,
Yeah.
because they don't know any better,
No.
and none of us. You do better when you know better, and even sometimes you know better and you still don't do better.
Well, this is true. That's been true for me definitely a lot as well. Because sometimes we know it cognitively, like in the mind, but we haven't yet integrated it enough for it to become an action that makes a difference.
Yes.
And so this is where I think meeting ourselves with compassion really matters, because I see a lot of people on this path of remembrance that end up really feeling worse about themselves because they think they haven't become a good enough human. And I'm looking at this holy human going, my God, you like, look at what we hold from childhood to now. And I just think human beings, now my husband thinks I give humanity too much credit here, but human beings hold so much. Yeah. And I'm in awe of what we hold. I've yet to meet a human being really genuinely not trying their best to be a loving human being. Yeah. And yes, sometimes an asshole's an asshole, we meet them, and sometimes I'm the asshole. Yeah. You know, and that's life.
And it's momentary assholeness sometimes. Mostly. Most humans it's a moment or a phase, it's or fleeting. A whatever. Yeah.
Most people, it's fleeting, and it's not a true reflection
no.
of their heart or who they are. And it's not that we let people off with things or we don't have clear boundaries or standards for our relational experiences. But it's important that we also acknowledge, you know, that sometimes it's a hard moment or hard time or, you know, whatever it is. And for me, compassion has been a way of life. It's really supported me with myself. I was very, very hard on myself for a very, very long time in my life. And we spoke a wee bit about that earlier, that inner critic. And she's a wee hag in my head, you know. And she's not very kind. And she doesn't tell me things that are true, you know. And we all have that inner dialogue that doesn't necessarily support us. But a way I came into safety with that was recognizing a lot of the time this part was born out of trying to protect me.
Yes.
From taking risks or doing something different or, you know, showing up in a new way, because we have all of these wee sneaky wounds which show up in the divine feminine around comparison.
The sister wounds. Which is huge.
They're massive.
Which I'd love to talk to more. Because that is something you and I, even in our journey together, I've had to work through embodying, like holding, because... So for those of you that don't know, which you don't know, so I'm going to share now. So Genevieve and I did a priestess path initiatory experience where I was initiated through Genevieve and this work, and it was some of the most transformative work of my life. And it's just really coming into trust and surrender and safety in myself, to believe in myself and know that this is there. And it was beautiful, incredible work. But part of what it raised in me was my sister wounds. Yeah. Like a mother wounds that I hold. Because like my mum, I love my mum. Yeah. And I love our dynamic in our relationship. But like any relationship, it has parts where it could be better. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And the same with my sister as well. Yeah. Love her. We have our relationship's good, but it could be better, you know? Yeah. And then that shows up in the wider context of the sister wound with my friends. Yeah. And it's all about those parts where have I abandoned myself. Yeah.
And you cannot move into priestess work or divine feminine work without meeting this. Because that is the work.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when you start to move into these places and spaces, then you're going to meet your stuff and you're going to be activated by women. You're going to be triggered by women. You're going to compare yourself to women. You're going to feel better than some, less than some. And the way I see it, there's always going to be someone who is prettier, who is more knowledgeable, who is... got something to gift you, or so, even if it feels uncomfortable in the gift. And then there's always going to be somebody that's reaching their hand to you because they see you as that person. Exactly. And so I always get this image of women holding a hand back and holding a hand forward. There's somebody taking my hand here and I've got a woman's hand there. Yeah. And that's what we really do. And when we're in the priestess work, the work of the feminine, then we're going to meet all of the parts and places where we weren't met as young girls, teenagers, women. And the stuff will show up in our relationship with our mothers, our sisters, our friends, our partners.
Yeah.
And the women we hold space for and work with.
Yeah.
And when we can cultivate enough awareness of what's happening within ourselves, that's how we cultivate the safety for the women around us.
100%.
And that's what we become. We become a safe woman. We become safe women by meeting the parts of us that didn't feel safe.
And I think part of that safety is owning times when you're not able to meet that.
Aye.
And just speaking to it.
Yeah.
Because then the other person realizes it's not actually about them.
Yeah.
You're on your own stuff. We always, like, I remember back in the day when I was doing my coaching, they were like, 90% of interactions with people that you have, or even initial interactions, like when you see somebody in the street, you internalize that, and 90% of that you make about you, when it's
That's
actually
not...
only 10% about you, because they're so caught up in their own stuff.
They don't even see you. Like,
yes, like the person you see in the street, and you be like, they're not talking to me, and blah, what did I do? And you sit and mull over it, and they're like, I wasn't wearing my glasses, I didn't even see. Like, it's like nothing to do with you, but we make it all about us. And the sister one it's a gift, because like I remember reading a piece of work by Genevieve, and her explaining that the comparison story or whatever, the less than, all the stuff, that the wound itself is actually a gift. And when that rises in you, if you see somebody online, for example, and you think, oh my God, look where they're at, and you might feel jealousy, right? And instead of like sitting with that and going, it's just they are doing the thing that you desire. That's your dream.
That's your dream.
If that person's more confident and you're like, oh, that's my dream, I want to be like them. They're doing the thing. They're being the thing. They're embodying the thing. It's flipping the script and being like, I'm going to write them a letter and be like, thank you for being, you're inspiring me. You have shown me that I can do this too. I can take this space as well. I can step in like this as well.
It's important. Like creating, that's another big part of the priestess path and the work of remembrance, is creating space for women to take up space.
Yes.
I've worked with a lot of women that have maybe messaged me and said, I'm worried that you might think I'm imitating you or copying or whatever. And I remember I've written so extensively into this in the online space. Do you know, that competition you're feeling, do you know, is it mine? Is it yours? You know, I really do challenge women in these areas, and I challenge myself in them. This is the thing. I don't challenge women because I'm pointing outwards. I'm looking in also. And so there's this reflection and mirroring that's happening, that gifts an opening into safer connections with women. And I haven't always felt entirely safe with women, and I find myself working with women, and a lot of us understand what it's like to be betrayed by the feminine, and it cuts deeper than being betrayed by the masculine, because we
understand each other.
We understand.
Yeah.
And we all have stories of betrayal, and we've stories of connection and warmth, and like being able to take up space comfortably to be ourselves. And I think that's a key element. And the wound part, like even the Magdalene path, like, I mean, just a few weeks ago I did a whole journey with women where we moved into the 7 wounds and 7 seals, and like these wounds are around separation, rejection, abandonment, all of the things that she experienced in human form, and these parts and pieces speak into, like, even the death, the wound of death itself. We're afraid to let things die and be reborn. So humans have this thing of holding. And we hold and we hold. And the thing that wants to gift you, the desire is like there. And we're like holding on and creating frictions and knots. And you might remember a ritual of the knots where I would get used to feel into the knot. What is the knot of tension? What is it that you're holding and knotting up inside of you? And now I want you to feel its gift and unravel the knot and see what happens there. And that's what happens in the divine feminine work. And that's what happens in the path of Magdalene. We meet the wounds to open and activate what's sealed within it, so that we can really like feel that golden anchor and let it rise up through us.
Because like it's when that switch happens when you flip it,
Yeah.
and you suddenly realize we're all the same.
Yeah.
We all are navigating these wounds.
We are.
Together.
We are all navigating them together.
Like, I am not separate to you.
No.
You're not separate to me. We
Yeah.
are all mirrors of each other. And the depths of those wounds and the stories you're carrying may be different.
Yeah.
But the feeling, we all know those feelings. Every
Yeah.
word that you said there, I have felt
Yeah.
every single one of
Yeah.
those words.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily in relation to a specific woman, by the way.
This is it. It doesn't have to be a specific person.
It's just the feeling and your
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
because these wounds, like we talked about energy and you saying about the different lifetimes.
Yeah.
And there's now all the science that is showing that we have cellular memory. You know, there's things in our DNA. It's our mother's wounds that we're carrying. It's our grandmother's wounds, our
Yeah.
great. You're going back to witch trial wounds. Like, how far back in your lineage can you go and see and what you're holding? And when you're opening that knot, it might not be your knot from your life story. I'm sure there is one.
Aye.
But it might be just something that you feel and you're like, I don't know why I hold this.
Why I feel this, why it feels so real for me.
Yes.
And like I always remember like a story, like I had this very vivid memory when I was a young person. I'm not going to go into the story itself, but I had a very vivid memory when I was around 17 or so. And I recall sharing it with my brother and my closest friend at the time. And it felt very real to me and very scary as well. And years later, I was in my 30s. I'd actually birthed like 3 of my children. I was actually with my 4th. And I was with a woman, and it was actually Anne Mackenzie, and she was doing like this guidance. And she says to me, she says, I have a grandmother this many generations removed. And she described the story that I remembered vividly at 17 years old. And she said that the wound of sexual trauma started with her and ended with me. And I thought, wow. And she shared a part and piece around what my daughter would one of my daughters would carry and heal. And I found that really, like, it was so affirming to me, because at the time I thought I was actually crazy. I actually thought, but what was happening to me back then, I was having shamanic initiations and soul memories, but I had no one that had an understanding of what was happening. And I had no one that I could share safely with what was happening.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to be protected in that and not medicated and not pushed in a different direction. So it's like my soul and my divine self has been protected so well in this life so that I can do what I'm here to do.
Wow. Like, a shout out to Anne as well.
Aye.
You know,
Unbelievable. Like, and I remember it, like, sitting across from the Guildhall and her sharing the story. And I was like, what? You know, it was just so, it was such a surreal moment and a real full circle moment of healing.
and it is testament, just to go back to the Lineiki, it's testament to energy healing work.
Yeah.
Because that's all energy. It's shamanic is another form in a
Of
way,
energy
you could
work,
say. You know,
Yeah.
it's different. Look, I'm always saying it's all about language. We're all doing the same stuff
We are.
in different ways.
Different ways.
Even when you have your hands on somebody
Yeah.
and they're doing massage or
Yeah.
body work,
Yeah.
that's still energy work, because
is.
you're literally in the person's energetic field and your hands are on their body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just different layers and different lenses and what you're open to seeing and perceiving and what you're not, if you know,
Yeah.
depending on what your lens is of
Yeah.
life experience and training and all the rest and how open your soul is. But like, yeah, it's such a testament to the power of it.
Yeah.
But it's also why it's so important, like that kind of information being passed to you. And this is why your book,
Yeah.
which will be coming out,
My hope.
which is, we didn't even expect to talk about this.
No,
but
we didn't.
But yes, why your book is important is what I was going to say, because it is about Anne knew what was safe to disclose and when to disclose it.
And that is the key and testament
Safety.
to someone who is experienced and not
Yes.
experienced. And I'm not saying that somebody who is new in this work isn't an experienced soul and doesn't
course.
know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But there is some like when I began energy work, I practiced so much before I began to move out into charging and, you know, like professionally say, you know, it took me, I took time.
Yes.
And I took time to and then I taught IET for such a long time. That was my first. So I'd love to give a wee call out to Stephen Thayer, who's the founder of IET, and it's now Barbara who runs that company. But IET is integrated energy therapy, and it was the first energy therapy that I learned. But before that, the angels, Archangel Raphael in particular, was showing me energy and how to lay my hands on my body and feel energy. And so then when I learned IET, it just again validated and affirmed what I was doing, but gave me a structure and an understanding of the body, that the liver holds anger, that the heart holds grief. Do you know, all this stuff, the lungs hold grief and throat shame. And so these teachings gifted me information that helped me understand the body energetically. And it was an opening and a door in. And so then my curiosity, of course, because I be curious and I want to experiment. And I do want to understand what I'm doing when I'm working with people.
Yeah.
And so I like to really test myself in that. And I like to test source. I like to make sure what I'm working with and bringing through is love, you know. And we do meet uncomfortable experiences when we ask for truth to be revealed. And those uncomfortable experiences are an opportunity to really land in faith in who you are, what you are. And it's not easy because you will be challenged. We are challenged in it. Challenged to hold the space. Challenged to be a safe person. No, it comes with growth, like.
Well, you can only go as far and as deep as you've gone within yourself.
So, yeah.
And like, and I, in my training with loads of them, but that is something that has came up as well, because there's a part of this which is the challenge will come if you're open to being issued the challenge. And if you're not open, then it won't come.
It won't.
Because you don't feel safe in the challenge.
Yes.
Whereas that's where I go. Like my thing is, oh Jesus, right, here we go. I have to like Robert on another episode, Robert Arbuckle, who, if you haven't checked out his episode, listen, it's brilliant work. Because he actually says it, and he's like, you know, we talked about the and I'm like, yeah, because that's like the only language I have to explain that. Like, there's like the two types of safety. There's this is an absolute don't fucking go there. That is like, you don't do that. I'm not talking about that. I mean the roller coaster. You know you're safe on the roller coaster, but it's like, oh god, I don't want to go on the roller coaster. That's my guiding light. I'm like, if I get, that's my challenge. If I get that, I know that I need to go do that thing. Do you know what I mean?
It's like going and working with people sometimes who activate and trigger us. They've got medicine for us.
100%.
They have medicine that we need to receive, and we might not feel like we want to do the medicine with the person. And we find that, oh my God, that was the very medicine I needed.
It always is, like.
Usually 9 times out of 10.
It's like even when you know that you've been navigating in the murky waters that you're kind of ignoring, but your life is the murky waters. You're just like fucking in it, and you're like, oh. Like mine is all about grief at the minute. I'm holding a lot of grief, and I am like the navigating this all the like every day, essentially every week, at least once a week anyway. And I'm like, I just want to box that off. And yet the more I do that, the more I'm disconnected, and the more and more my body screams at me, and the more and more I'm like, I just need to make the time to sit with this. And then I do, and it feels amazing, and I'd be like, what was I doing? I know this, like,
but we all
I
know
live
it.
this, and but yeah,
we do live it. And listen, I can be the biggest avoider on the planet. Like, I'm in this work, I'm mentoring people, I'm guiding people, and I'm like at times going, why are people coming to me? I'm avoiding this part and piece, but I might avoid this part and piece, but I can promise you I have my hands in somewhere else, and I'm digging deep. And so for every piece we avoid, there's sometimes there is safety in the avoidance.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the timing's just not quite right. But I think if we can be transparent, the more transparent, I always say this, if you're choosing a mentor, how transparent are they? Are they willing to speak to their flaws?
Yes.
Are they willing to speak to the parts and pieces that maybe they're not liked for? Are they willing to show up in ways that really reveal who they are behind whatever it is they're teaching?
Yes.
Because that to me is a true mentor, because you're going to get a whole bodied experience. You're getting the human being and the divine part of that person. And that's what I look for in a mentor.
Oh, that makes me so happy, because this is literally all I am espousing of late, because I'm like, especially this world even right now showing up here, right? I mean, I know that the authenticity is felt, because we feel it. We are who we are, which is great. But the world that we show up on social media, for example,
is a challenge. There's a lot of polished experiences that show up in the online world. I'm a homemade mommy of 6. I don't have time for polished. And I actually did a YouTube video, Ruth might find it. I'm standing in a dirty vest top, my hair's not washed, and I have a whole rant, and this rant set me free. And it was like it might have been last year, I don't even know if Ruth's seen it, but I went on and I had a rant about how I cannot brand myself. I cannot give you a polished version of whatever it is that I'm supposed to do, but what I can give you is real. I can't even remember exactly what I said,
that.
But that showing up in that way and sharing it on YouTube and putting it out there, really
giving yourself permission.
It gave me, I gave myself permission to show up in my messy vest top. I think my kitchen was messy. You know, I can't even remember exactly, but I do know that it was like, I can't believe I posted that, but I'm so glad I did.
Yes.
Because it set me free, and it was so funny, because then not long after it, my whole brand and colours and everything
came in then.
And I remember a beautiful sister, Madeline, messaging me, and she goes, Genevieve, I know you shared that and it was beautiful and I loved it, but you can have both. Like,
yes, absolutely.
You can be that part of you, because that is real.
Yes.
And you can still have the the brand and the polishedness of professionalism, if that's what you need as well. Because there is a part of me, of course, wants to be taken seriously.
Well, you're an artist as well.
I'm an artist. I'm a
so
creator.
You love the look
beauty.
and the visual and the
I love the beauty.
and the feminine loves the prettiness and like that's who I am. I am oh my god, the aesthetic. I love a beautiful aesthetic, but I'm also me, who is. I don't wash my hair every day, folks. I don't wear makeup 90% of the time. No. This is a real privilege that you're seeing both of us with makeup on right now, because that's not who I am, really. I mean, no, that's not, let me rephrase that. That is only part of who I am.
Yes.
Big part of who I am is not wearing makeup.
Yes.
And that's like shaming. There's a woman who wear makeup all the time, and I love that. I'm like, oh my god, I'm inspired by that. I'm like, I want to show up more like that.
Yes.
But I also love who I am, which is that I don't actually give a fuck. Like, and I'm very happy in myself, and I love my face. Not saying that wearing makeup does not mean you're not happy in yourself. That's not what I'm saying. No. So if you're getting that message, you're mishearing me. I'm saying I love wearing makeup too.
Yeah.
But I'm not as, it's not something that I've like invest as much time in.
Aye.
And I would love to do that more.
Yeah.
Like, that is the truth.
It does make you feel good.
It does make you feel good.
I love beauty. Yes, I love seeing women in their beauty. I just be like, oh my god, like,
I love how immaculate you look.
Aye, and
together you are.
It's beautiful. And I love seeing women in colour and just expressing themselves. But I also love it when women can just relax
and be
and slouch and be and just breathe in that part as well, because that's a very real part of our feminine expression too.
Yes, you're okay.
Our feminine expression as well, and like part of the Magdalene path, the path of the feminine, the path of sister. A lot of these wounds around how we look or how we present ourselves, or like, you know, makeup or no makeup. Like, there's a lot of things that compare online. I remember seeing a post one time, and it was comparing like a smart girl that was an astronaut to a young girl that decided like maybe she was beauty or whatever. And I remember being really irritated by it, thinking, well, why can't she be both? She can be smart and beautiful, because beauty is smartness and smartness is beauty. And I was like, why do we keep pitting one version of woman against the other? And that's part of the feminine wounding.
Yes.
We are constantly pitted against each other. And so it's like, I'm either this kind or that kind. And it's like, be all. What is your expression? I remember a beautiful, like, I just love seeing her comment, Magella. She is just the fucking radiance embodied.
love her.
And she just, every time I see her, I'm just like, that is the divine feminine to me.
That's Cleopatra.
She's Cleopatra
just walked
energy.
Into the room.
She's
Yes.
just got this
Shout
aura.
out to Magello again.
Hello,
All the people
Michelle.
that we're mentioning, by the way, I will tag them all and they'll all be
But
in the show
she's
notes
such
for you to
a
check
beautiful woman and
Yes,
a
she
beautiful
is.
way. And she inspires you to want to be beautiful,
Yes.
to want to do your hair and to want to wear colour. And, you know, that's the kind, that is a gift that she brings women.
Yes.
And I imagine some women are intimidated by it. And I just like, that's fucking gorgeous. Can you
Yes.
bring me more of that? Inspire me.
Pour
Can
it
you-
into me, please.
Can you take me shopping? And you know, like, because I don't know how to dress myself.
1,000%.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
So you be inspired by these women.
Yes.
And, you know, my eldest daughter's like that. She walks into a room and you're like, oh my God. Like, she just,
My
she's
sister-in-law is like that.
incredible.
She's,
And so these
yeah.
women are beautiful. And sometimes I am that woman. And sometimes Ruth is that woman. And
then-
sometimes we're not.
and you know, the bit I was mentioning about social media, there's two things I want to mention here, which is about the comparison piece, right? And then, like we say, rephrasing that to thank that person because they're actually inspiring you if you're feeling a call from them
Yeah,
for something, you know what I mean?
100%.
But like social media, it sets you up, like you're told there's like, when you're, for those of you on an entrepreneurial journey,
Yeah,
right?
online, yeah.
Yeah, like you're told to present yourself in this polished way. And Jason and I were just talking about this week. And I'm like, who made the rule that to be an authority, you have to be polished?
Yeah.
I'm a fucking authority because my life has gifted me that.
Yeah.
And I have invested the time and the energy. Not my life experiences have initiated me,
Yeah.
but I have taken myself through rites of passage. I
You
have
have.
literally initiated myself in so many different pieces of
Yeah.
work. I have spent thousands of
pounds
hours,
and
like
hours.
thousands of hours on educating myself.
Yeah.
I remember Naomi said something to me, and that she's another podcast guest, Mama Gnomes, check her out. She was like, her wall, she's like, I could wallpaper my wall with certificates, and I'm like, yes, preach,
Yeah.
sister.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And
Do
do you know
what
where
I mean?
mine are? Mine's are in a box. I don't value.
No.
This sounds really bad, but and this is where I struggled with certifying Linnea Kea.
Yeah.
Because I don't, not that I don't value a certificate, I value the journey.
Yes.
But there's a soul, ancient, deep part of me that's like, I don't need a certificate to evidence what I can do.
Yes.
Because it's evidenced in the people that I work with. All of the time.
1,000%.
Do you know? All
Yeah.
of the time.
There
They
are
are
people-
testament to it.
There are people who have a certificate on their wall and they are not embodying the work, and they are not, the ethics are not there. The
Yeah.
morality, the integrity is the word I was looking for. The integrity is not there.
Yeah.
And it's because, so I hear you, I understand, but
Yeah.
there's also this 3-dimensional reality we live in,
Yeah.
this world we live in is like, oh, you have to have a qualification, blah, blah, blah. I get the dance.
And I
totally do.
really had to like make peace with this and go, right, that's okay. And you know, it's interesting because whenever I was just in my community, for example, the Linnea Kea community, there was, I'm doing it like for the anti-certificate person. I decided I'm going to give them a mini graduation. I talk with my hands, that's why I paint. But I says I was going to give them a wee mini graduation, and we're going to do a celebration in October for everybody that has moved through the journey. And then some of the women were sharing, and I suddenly felt and saw the value in it from their place. And it got me emotional, and I was like, wow, this is why this is important. This gives value to them
Yes.
in a way that gives them a piece of their worthiness back. That says, I can do
did
this,
it.
and I did this. And so I understand. And a part of me then started to explore this trail of thought with myself and certification. I used to find it hard to feel joy or pride for things that I accomplished or did. And people were like, you must be so proud of yourself. And this actually happened with my first book. You must be so proud of yourself. And I was like, I'm not sure if I might feel anything. I'm so good at, you know, it was really strange. But I've been able to trace elements of that back to just trauma and things like that, and my inability to feel the excitement and joy of something. So to cultivate that in myself takes time. And so just because it takes me time doesn't mean that it doesn't have value for other people.
Yes.
And it's not that it's not valuable to me, it's just that there was a part of me that forgot how to celebrate and acknowledge and feel pride for something that I had moved through and accomplished. And so many people reflect that back to me and say to me, wow, Genevieve, you've done da 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 da. And I always get emotional. And then it's like, I get emotional because I've struggled to see it.
And to take stock.
And to take stock.
Like literally that we talked about one my adopted nephew. I call my wee Paddy. Hi Paddy. Reflected back. Basically, he was telling me a story today of him talking about me to someone else about working with me, and he went through the laundry list of what I do.
Yeah.
Because he was like, it's really hard to kind of explain. It's like me trying to there now be like, how do I put what you do into it? Like, you can't nutshell this.
Very challenging.
Like, you can't, for the sake of social media, niche this shit down, because we're multifaceted and we work in a multifaceted way.
Yeah.
And we're multifaceted beings and we do multiple things.
Yeah.
And I just was like, wow, that was beautiful that he even shared that scene, being like, and he went, and it just really occurred to me, fuck me, you do a wild lot. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I fucking do. Thanks very much for saying that, because
we don't always see it in ourselves.
We don't.
It's very rare we see it in ourselves. It's very rare we see ourselves through the eyes of other people.
Yeah. Or allow ourselves
to
receive
it.
Yeah.
And it's a big piece in the healing journey. And being receptive to that.
Yeah.
And allowing ourselves to really hear it and feel it and recognize our impact.
Yeah.
Because you've had such a positive impact in people's lives. You're a positive impact in my life, and it's a gift. And I do feel like we are a gift. Like I always say to people, you're a living prayer.
Every single one of us.
Every single one of us is a living, embodied prayer.
Yes.
And if we walked around believing in our living prayer and that we were an actual miracle, and I always joke, I'm going to get t-shirts where it says you're a fucking miracle, and everybody's reading it going, oh my God, I am a miracle.
So true.
And we are. And we forget it, and we're searching for these miracles.
And you are the miracle.
And we are the miracle.
I literally wrote a post ages ago, and if I can find it, I'll link it here, where I had read about, how many semen is released and how many eggs, and how they had worked out what the chances of you actually being conceived were.
It's mental.
And it is hundreds of millions of a percentile. It's like,
that's right.
It's like there was more of a chance, like the chances of you being here are so slim. And yet we were just like, people, like even with womb work, even in that very 3D reality of like, people just get pregnant, and unless you're not a person that has been on, like if you've been on a conception journey, you'll be like, that wasn't my truth. And everything's perception, but the reality is it's a miracle that that any single being is born or conceived. Even a baby that never, all the babies that have been, I hate miscarried, but who didn't, their journey ended when it did for a reason. Like all those little lives are all miracles. Every single
living,
one
breathing
of them.
miracles and prayers, and manifest into being. Like, when you feel into the light of our soul and it being conceived in a body and a womb and a woman, through obviously the sport of the masculine, and we become that bridge for light and soul to become a body. And we forget that it's a miracle. And I just be in awe, and I be going, how do we so quickly forget the miracle we are? We get so consumed with this external world that we live in that we forget that we're a living, breathing miracle. And then, like, if you feel into that energetically, I like to imagine that if everybody remembered their living light and soul, and we all started to activate that together, which is happening across the globe.
It is
definitely happening more and more and more. But imagine a world where it is never forgotten. That's when we will know peace on this earth. And I won't see that in my lifetime, but I know that I'm seeding in something that supports it. And I feel those of us on this path are.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That is just like such a bow on this conversation, because just to take a moment to really hear those words, and if you're listening, to take a moment to just Anchor in and close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart, a hand on your womb or your hara if you're a man. And just really feel the miracle that you are, the miracle of your heart beating beneath your hand. You are the living prayer. You are the miracle. You're everything that you have sought in your life. It all lives within you. You are everything you need and want, and it's all there. It's all right there beneath your hands. And just feeling that truth. And it's a certainty. It's a deep, deep knowing. It doesn't require faith, because you don't need to have faith. Faith almost is like, I don't know if it's real yet. It's not faith, it's knowing. It's remembering the truth of who you are. It's such a gift to remember. And it's like, and this is like the joy and the light of that. And like, even speaking that, like, just to really reflect for a moment on my internal process in there, sharing that Patty said that, me sharing it in that way, there was an internal dialogue of being like, people are going to be like, who does she think she is?
There's fear, judgment. It's one of the wounds. Judgment is one of the wounds that shows up in the Magdalene path, the feminine path.
It's there. It was there. The wee tiny blip, blip, wee flicker. And I was like, no, because if I really drop in, it's not about me. That part of it. It's this, like, this is the truth. This is who I am.
It's that part, when people say, how do you follow your purpose or your dharma, your soul? And I'm all, you get yourself out of the way.
Yes.
You just, and it's not that you don't become yourself. Like,
no, you become more of
more of yourself. I always say, women come into circle with me and they leave different but more of themselves.
So true. I can testify to that.
And we do, like, and I've witnessed, like, when you witness a woman move, or a man, when you witness anybody move from this one place to another, there's nothing more humbling, more beautiful. And I always get emotional, because I'm not just witnessing a human being finding themselves, I'm witnessing their soul come to life. And that, to me, is what moves me in this life. Always. From that moment in 2009. That's the gift.
Yeah. Thank you for the gift that you are, because you have been such a gift to me in my journey. Like, you know this, that you have been a shining light in the darkness for me, and like, and the test as well. The like, you have mirrored things for me, and it's like, but the beauty in our journey is I've been able to go, well, this is, and you, I've done that for you as well. We've messaged each other being like, just, you know, this has triggered me something, but I know it's not you, but this is fucking, what's that about?
We
like,
have felt stuff together. Like, speaking of sister wounds, find your sisters that you can communicate them to. Like,
that you can feel safe to own it too.
To own what's in your body, what's in your womb, in your heart, maybe stuck in your throat, wherever it is. Have your sisters you can share it with, because that's when we change. That's when we heal these wounds. And there's not enough spaces where there's safety for that. I feel you definitely bring that safety. I feel I bring that safety.
Definitely.
And there's many women across the globe and in the Northwest that are absolutely bringing that. There really is. And there's more and more of us that are arriving into that with more clear confidence than ever before. And the more of us that arrive into that, the more we will possibly activate each other in the stuff that rumbles beneath. And it will rumble. And if you're holding a group of women, there's going to be rumbling. There's going to be shadow parts. There's going to be thunder, lightning, and chaos, and so much bloody beauty, like. And we need to be willing to hold all pieces of all the women. And if you're the holder of that space, then you're the woman that's going to feel it first.
1000%.
And then you get to hold them there. And some of them mightn't know they're feeling it. They mightn't understand the rumbles energetically. They mightn't actually know. And this is where finding those mentors and women that have possibly just been holding that energetic space for a little bit longer. Because there's spaces that can bring people into places prematurely
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Ruth has met this, where something has opened up prematurely and we didn't feel as safely held as maybe we needed or wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we've held space and we've prematurely activated or opened something in another.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had to scramble and learn how to hold it and meet it and really be with the vulnerability of, oh God, I don't know, but I'm really trying. And, you know, and this is the learning and this is the growth. Be willing to own what you've got the capacity hold and what you don't.
Yes.
And that's what will make you a good holder of space for women.
Yeah, it's honesty, transparency.
Yeah.
And when you arrive into circle, the whole point of circle is there's nobody standing at the front. We're all there.
Aye.
I'm a woman.
Aye.
I have my shit.
Yes.
You're a woman.
Yeah.
You have your shit. We
Yeah.
have lives. We have families. We
Yeah.
have things we're navigating. But it's that beautiful thing about circle is that we're all in it together. We're all doing this together. Yes, we create the space and we still hold the space.
Yeah, of course we do.
But it's owning the parts where it's like, oh, okay, if something here is resonating, then... And then there is that also ultimate responsibility is if you don't have the capacity to hold the space, you cancel the circle.
Yes.
Or you don't organise it for when you know you're in your bleed. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you own that and be like, okay, I'm moving through something here. Now is not the time for me to hold that.
I think that's been a beautiful gift that I feel I've gifted women over the years. I've authentically said, I can't hold this tonight for whatever reason. And it's gifted them permission to go, oh, I can let that go too. Or I can I don't have to show up in perfection or pretense or performance.
Yes.
And I can smell performance a mile away. I just be like, please stop. I need you to stop.
Yeah.
Please, you know, and if I feel myself moving into performance, I'm like, Genevieve, stop.
Yeah.
And I will pause in that.
Yeah.
And I'll catch myself or invite a woman to move past that part that feels she needs to perform.
Yeah.
Because that can be part of our wounding in the feminine field.
Yes.
That was our safety. We performed for safety. And so when we own these parts and pieces, say somebody's feeling insincerity in something, it's probably because there's a performance piece.
Yes.
And so there's something that makes us back away or off.
Yeah.
And isn't it like?
And to speak to that goes both ways.
It does.
Because there's the performance piece where you feel like you have to show up in this way. And that can look like I need to show up in my story. I need to be in my vulnerability of this story that I've told a million times that actually is like water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
And there's like that insincerity of being like, you're not really going there.
Aye. Yes.
Let's really go there.
Yeah.
So that it goes both ways. But I know what you mean. Like literally I'd be like, I'm giving myself the ick. This is not me. I am not in the form today to be like, hey guys, how are you? Inside I'm dying inside today. And like owning that and just being like, so I'm a bit flat today.
Yeah.
And this is the bit where, again, come back to the social media because we both live on this world and this is coming to you all through this world. But that like true authority to me being really like, for me, this that it's coming and I'm almost like, oh, do I say the word? But I'm going to say it and speak it out now. Oh, but there's a course coming, right? Okay. That's the first course. But there's another piece that's the real, like this was seeded many, many moons ago. And it's about living into your empress energy, your queen energy.
Yeah.
And like even my back, I'm just like straighten up straight away.
The minute you say queen, you just go.
I'm in it. And like when I'm in that energy of authority, I don't need to put makeup on. I don't need to have my shit together. I am the authority because I know my fucking life.
And you
I know
yourself.
me. I know me and my life and myself. And that will always transcend the energy and the frequency of what I am transmitting is this. And you feel it if you're ready and or it's resonating for you and you're in that space in your life and you're like, oh, the issue of the challenge is there. The hairs are rising on end. This is the activation and the call to be like, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Yeah. I'm ready to do that piece of work. And it doesn't matter how I present myself. Like I am a beautiful woman when I have makeup on or don't. And this is the bit that I want
This is it.
I wanted to return to this piece too, which is, you know, the judgments, you know, there's a lot of Botox in the world. There's a lot of like plastic surgery and cosmetic surgery, and then there's this piece around authenticity and being in your authentic self, and judgment around women who do modify their bodies and whatever. And I'm like, the true authenticity of that is their expression for them in that moment, and that might change.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who have augmentations and get them undone again, breast augmentation and all the rest. The point is, if that is your aligned self in that moment, then that's your aligned self in that moment. Who am I or anyone else to judge you in that? Because a bit of this work around the priestess work is this like wounding around this as well. Like, oh, I'm all natural, you know, I don't shave my legs or armpits. And then on the other side, there's this beautiful woman who has had Botox and bleaches her hair
But I
and
think
whatever.
we're very complex beings, right?
It's just like
humanity.
It's all welcome. We're all. It's all
Yeah.
all acceptable. We accept it all.
There's likely a woman who Botoxes but eats only organic food. Like,
Yes, exactly.
there's likely a woman who drinks alcohol but wouldn't put Botox in her body.
Yeah.
You know,
We're multifaceted.
yes, and so allowing for these nuances
Yes.
and allowing for the complexity of our expression,
Yes.
minus the judgment, minus
Exactly.
the parts and pieces that says, well, I'm a better woman than you because I do X, Y, Z better than that.
Yes.
And it's like the shame, and even I think of even the performance around motherhood online at the
Yes.
minute. Is very
Breastfeeding and
versus
yeah.
non-breastfeeding, pram carrying. You know, I have 6 children, and one's 25 and one's 8, and some were bottle fed, some were breastfed, some were pram, some were carried, some co-slept, some didn't. I have had every expression of motherhood. I've been a single mother. I'm a mother that has children from different fathers. I mean, literally every expression of mother lives in me. So I am not judging you as a mommy. Like, I'm literally going, I've had all of those expressions in this one motherhood journey, which is a bit insane.
That's a fucking gift, though.
It's
That's
a bit
so
insane.
beautiful.
It is beautiful, but it's like this part and piece where I'm going to meet you where you are. If you needed to feed that Wayne pizza tonight and you're feeding them freshly cooked food tomorrow, then there's balance in that somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to run a superiority thing on you.
Yes.
That everything's organic and everything. There's a performance in that.
Yes. Yeah.
And we must allow mothers, women, children, men to find their authentic expression. And yes, there's knowledge. Like, I love learning from lots of different people. But let's learn from each other and really like honor that everyone's path might look different, but they're still getting to the place they need to be.
Compassion and grace.
Yes.
Give yourself and others grace.
Yeah.
I know what I need to be doing that feels right in my body.
Aye.
Do I do it? You can best believe I'm going to eat a bar of chocolate and have a cup of tea after this tonight. Is that maybe the best choice? Probably not.
Yes.
But I honour and give myself the compassion and the grace to know where I'm at and know where I'm heading and working towards somewhere.
Yes.
And also seeing people and seeing them that they are where they are. That doesn't mean that I'm further on the road than them.
Yeah.
That's just their chosen journey. And this is the bit with the sister wound. It's like everybody's journey is different. Mine is no better or less than yours.
Yes.
You made choices for you that work for you. I made choices for me that work for me.
Yeah.
It's the judgment bit, and it's like, where is that coming from?
Aye.
And is it that you're putting on to them something that, like let's face it,
Well,
it's always you putting on to the other person.
We project and judge on to others, of course, what we're not dealing with internally.
Yeah.
And then there's the healthy judgment.
Yeah.
Right? And the healthy
the discerning.
discernment.
Yes, the discerning.
Because there is healthy judgment. Like, we know that it is wrong to do certain things in life.
Yes.
We don't need to be walking a particular religious path or spiritual path in order to know.
You don't murder someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are just things we don't do. We don't steal from someone, say, or things like this. We know, right?
Well,
But like, we don't. Maybe when you were little and you were still learning, I don't know. Like, but you know,
of course. Yeah.
But once our moral compass comes on board, most human beings understand and know there is wrongs and rights in terms of what is a good, a decent human being. Let's say a decent human being rather than good or bad.
Yes, decent.
And so a decent human being, no matter who we are, knows the rights and wrongs in life.
Yeah.
And sometimes there is right judgment in certain areas.
Yes.
That requires us to make a judgment on whether that is something we will choose to do or not do.
Yes.
And that's the difference. But when we're projecting a judgment about what a woman should be doing or not doing, or we're projecting a judgment around something that maybe she's experiencing or we're not experiencing,
Yes.
even just say in a woman's circle, and maybe one woman's lying and she's having this completely euphoric experience, and another woman's in the very same circle and she's experiencing nothing, she's numb. But what she's really experiencing is how numb she is, but she's frustrated with the numbness. And the other woman's in her euphoria, and the other woman's going, why is she in euphoria? And I'm in numb.
Yes.
And I've been both numb and euphoric. And it depends on my environment.
From moment to moment in one day.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Do you know? But it's like, you know, and so like, it's like allowing ourselves the room and the space to be where we're at.
The grace and that.
The grace and compassion.
Grace. Give
yeah.
yourself grace. It just shows even that the layers that we put on meaning onto something that literally it can be something as simple as it didn't land.
Aye.
That's okay.
And that's okay. The idea that everything has to be a euphoric experience too, or a big release, isn't necessarily a healthy way, isn't it not?
No, definitely not.
Because like sometimes change happens in the quiet, where it feels like nothing's happening.
Well, change is always
everything.
happening. That's the thing. You're always changing.
Yeah.
It's just your perception of the time frame, the what you layer on to the meaning of change and time frames in relation to that.
Yeah.
Everything is nothing. I love that Tony Robbins line. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it.
Yeah, and that's so true. For everything.
For everything.
Yeah.
And it's like when you realize it's you giving the meaning to every interaction.
Even our women's work.
Yes.
There's some people find no meaning in that. They don't understand. Why are you creating women's circles? Why do you want a woman to connect to her womb?
Yeah.
Why do you want to connect a woman to her body? There's women out there looking, going, what are they talking about? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it because it doesn't have meaning for them.
Yeah.
And that's okay, you know, and allowing ourselves to accept that the women who are meant for this work, and I don't mean meant as in chosen or special.
No.
I mean the women that will naturally gravitate towards it will always find it.
Yes.
Because there's a part of their soul that has sought it or is seeking it because they're remembering something from before that's needed now.
Yeah. It's a journey, and you arrive, and there are people who will never arrive at this place in their journey because that's not their journey.
Yeah.
Their journey's their journey. It's like, just remember that you are the miracle.
Yeah.
And remember to connect to the fact that you're the gift. And when you always drop into that place, to me, that is that inner authority that you remember that you are the divine, you are sovereign, you are kings and queens of your life. And when you remember that, all the rest just falls away, because it's like, well, it doesn't matter how that person's showing up or what they're doing, and I don't need to follow any template to life. I just need to remember who I am, which is this, that I am sovereign and I am the divine, and that gives me the permission of freedom to just show up in my life whatever way I want. And it doesn't have to be like, even so the gathering that I had at the house was to mark me stepping into working full time for myself.
Yeah.
And that is a whole other initiatory journey.
It's a big journey.
Yeah.
Because when you show up to bring yourself into a service, you're actually stepping into a really vulnerable, courageous place.
Yeah. Massively.
Because you are putting something out there that has been born through you, from you. And you obviously have value and meaning in that. And you obviously want it to be received and accepted, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. So it brings up all sorts of stuff. It's not for the faint of heart. Like,
So not.
to actually put yourself out continuously and really let people know this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it and this is who it's for, really does bring up so much along the way. Yeah. And I've met every wound imaginable in this self-employment journey.
Yeah.
Do you know? And like I would have had core wounding around being misunderstood and rejection. They're not easy things to navigate as an entrepreneur, I'll tell you that. Because people are going to reject you, and I've had so many people misunderstand me. And I've been chronically misunderstood from very young. And it's one of my core things that and I really don't like being misunderstood or misheard. And I've learned to obviously hold myself in that. But it's like really fascinating. Like, and I remember when I first started sharing my art in particular, and people would interpret it in their way, and I'd be like, they don't even understand it. They don't get it. Because it was my heart and soul, obviously.
Yeah.
But so all that says was I wasn't ready to share the art. And so we need to learn when we're ready to share something and when we're not.
Oh, definitely.
Isn't it?
And like, see, stepping into working for myself, it's like, this is my path, and I'm choosing this. And that doesn't diminish somebody else's journey.
No.
And equally theirs doesn't diminish mine. Because
No.
there's like, this is freedom for me. This is how I embody freedom. This is what's soul aligned for me. Because it's so easy for us to look at the person to our left and to our right and be like, oh, you know, I want what they have, or I don't get what they do or what they have. And that's all. It's like all of it is welcome. The truth of life, I feel, is when you really ground into love, and that's the soul essence of who we are, is we're love, then you have the compassion, you have the grace, or you can feel the grace for people, and you just accept and you allow people to be people. And you let go. And the only time that maybe that resonates on a way that kind of triggers is if it comes into your path and someone's forcing, and even that is the invitation. Can you rise past, can you see that that's about them? And can you rise past that, and can you still stay in your love and devotion to the divine, you know? And because that's like, to me, the ultimate challenge. I think about the man that, he was a Korean veteran. No, sorry, I'm saying this wrong. He was a prisoner of war, basically, and they kept him in basically like a coffin-shaped cage for so many years. And he came to, it's a book about him coming to know God and like talking to God daily, and how he came away from that experience being like, that was such a blessing, and I'm so blessed for all those people and the gift. And like I'm just like, wow, the compassion, the, like, you know, just the grace.
When you see the gift of your life, you do really become the gift. You embody it. Like
it is literally a gift to be sitting alive right now. You know, I've said before, we forget, we swing our feet out over the side of the bed and we stand up and we just take it a given that we opened our eyes.
And it's not always the case.
No,
nobody knows, none of us know our timeline. And like, I've felt this, and obviously, like, I have children and I'm raising children, and I'm not saying that I would want to pass on currently, but I really do feel that if I did pass on, I've lived a really full, vibrant, beautiful life. And I feel peace in that regardless. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I have a good few years of me yet, like, but if I didn't, I could honestly sit in my heart and go, wow. Like, and I really feel that. And it's a big thing to say, but I really do see the gift in the life that I've led and the people I've met and the lives that have touched me and that I've touched. It's just been incredible.
And like, the fullness of life doesn't mean that you have this roster of things that you've did. No. It's like, I could die happy knowing that I showed up fully in my life and expressed myself today fully as who I am. I've given myself that permission now. I'm fully expressed in lots of ways. I'm not. there's times I retract and whatever.
Hold back
but mostly. I'm
the same. I'm like, this is who I am, and this is what
Ta-da!
I do.
Here we are.
Here we are. This is what I do. And, you know, like, it definitely hasn't been easy over the years talking about the things that I've talked about. And I've had a lot of women even come into my experience in life in recent years, and they're like, I used to read your stuff and think, that woman's mental. Like,
Yeah,
and I was like, I get that. I get it. You know, I've like very close family members who still think I'm mental, but they love me, you know.
Snap.
And they ground me and they humble me and like they keep it real. And I think if we can keep ourselves real and grounded,
Yes,
in all of it, but like just that part and piece of just really genuinely being ourselves.
yeah,
You can tell when people are themselves,
yeah.
even if they're awkward in it, even if they're shy in it, even if they're a wee bit uncertain, we can still feel them there. And we can feel insincerity. We know that feeling,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And can you meet yourself there?
Yeah, time and again.
And the long road, folks.
It's a long road.
The long road.
Cheers to that.
Oh,
I call this like this joy I know is life, you know?
Yes, it is, yeah.
And I mean, it's, you know,
all of it. As I say, the full spectrum of the wheel of emotion. All the colours. All of them. We paint with all the colours on the canvas of life. All of them. You need the shadows to accentuate the bright lights. Like, we need it all, and it is all a joy and a privilege. And that's not easy said, but that coming as a message from you who has had trauma.
I've
and
had
who has
huge big traumas.
Yeah.
I've had, like, my traumas are not small traumas.
No, they're big T traumas.
They're big
like,
T traumas.
Yeah,
I was sexually abused from a very, very young age, right through until I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And so that was my life. That was my childhood.
Yeah.
And I spoke into that I was 15 years old, and I spoke into it, and I moved through the court process and all of that. And this person, like, he was an uncle, and, you know, he was completely eliminated from my family. I was very fortunate. I was believed.
Yes.
I was believed. I was supported. And I was able to move into that experience knowing that I was believed and held in that. And that is a big thing. And, you know, even though I moved through the whole court thing, and it was years later, like, it wasn't until I was 18 that they actually arrived in court. And he denied it right up until that point. And then he admitted it on the day I was supposed to, you know, move into the stand and things. And he took ownership in that moment. But these perpetrators do not, in my view, get enough time. He was, I think, given 8 years, and it was reduced to 4 because of his own traumas. And his traumas were immense as well. But as my husband likes to say to me, but, you know, we all experience trauma, but we don't all do those things. That's the difference between a decent human being and a not so decent human being. Yeah. But he played a role in my life.
Of course, yeah.
And it's been you know, obviously it's not been a good role. But I'm a very empowered person, but not because of him, but because of the way I moved into this life experience. Yeah. But he ended up doing only 2 years. You know, he was released like by the time I was 20. And this is a part and piece for anybody who has experienced this. And I just want to touch on this sensitively. Do you know, if you're still in that, there is hope. Like, there is a way through. I am somebody who has managed to create a very full, vibrant, beautiful life, regardless of that start. And that's a pretty incredible gift in itself. And it's because of the people that have surrounded me and held me. And I've had to move into some very intense spaces and places within me. And it has taken a lot of strength to come to this place that I'm in. And, you know, I feel into that period of time. And I remember the Gardaí coming. I was in a nightclub, and I came out of the nightclub and I was, you know, I was drinking, I was with friends, and I was on a high, and these Gardaí came to tell me that he'd been released from prison. And I remember thinking how insensitive that was. So insensitive. And in front of my friends, and I think some of the people didn't know, and some of the people did know, and so there was all of this stuff that came up in that experience. And I remember thinking, what guard? No, how do they feel that that's inappropriate? They said they tried to get in touch with me for a few days and stuff, and maybe they had. At that time, I was a bit of a wildfire, trying to put out the fires, you know. But at the same time, it was a very insensitive way to approach a very challenging time in a young woman's life. And I think about how the way young people aren't always held safely in those experiences, and how fortunate I was that I had people like who believed me, and he was instantly removed from our family. There's not even a trace of a picture of that man in any photo or album or anything. And you know, that person is somebody that I have often felt I would like to sit in a room with and ask, what was that? What part of you made you that? You know, because I feel I could now. I feel I'm strong in myself that I could sit eye to eye with this person and really ask those questions, because there's a part of me that wants to understand that predatory behavior and that harmful behavior, not because of anything that he's done or me, but because I want this to end.
Yes.
This is a worldwide problem. It's something I'm very passionate about bringing awareness to. It is across the globe.
It's so close to home.
Statistically, it's just...
It's
everywhere. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
And you would be naive to think that it's not.
Yeah.
And part of me speaking to this, as much as I have and do, is to set that part free so that there's conversation, constant dialogue, constant awareness, because it's not going away anytime soon.
I totally relate and understand everything.
Yeah.
And it is like, there's like the dualistic part of you, the adult wants to know, the enlightened person who has been on this journey. It's like there's this like literally like almost psychology of it being like where, and we make excuses a lot for people. And like you say, like you're like Seamus, Jason's the same. Like everybody has trauma. Now there are of course variations, and it's not to say that one trauma is more than others, but it can't, like the charge of something can be more, is the way I would say, in the body. And there are people who, like, he has had traumas, you could explain it away even that way, but there are equally people who have not had that and still are predators. So like I understand that. And the inner child also, there's the child wants to know and be protected and to be like,
what happened
yeah. And it's so interesting because it's a lot to navigate, and there's like this part too around if they pass or when they pass, like an understanding from this higher level of consciousness that there's a soul, the soul will return and that dies.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And integrating, it's so nuanced and so there's so many facets to this. Yeah. And like there's always so many facets to trauma, but I feel like Jason actually coined this really well for me this week. I always say to people, you know, people who know better do better. And what was the sentence he said? Oh yeah, like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Yes.
Right. And with trauma, we can be like, people do these things and they and it's because of their trauma, right?
Yes.
And so therefore there's this result, right? But he says there has to be this part of accountability when the person is conscious of what they're doing. Yeah. And he's like, the definition of stupidity is doing the same, knowing that you're doing the same things and still expecting a different result. Yeah. And he's like, there has to be this also with the trauma part. When you know, when there's this awareness, then you have a personal responsibility to go and sort your shit out.
I agree with you, because there was a part of my life where I was snowballing in a big way. I was self-destructive. I was harmful for myself. I wasn't always putting myself in safe places or spaces. I was very promiscuous. I didn't understand how to hold my body safe, or me. There was a lot there, but there came a point in my life where I had to take responsibility, because I wasn't just a teenager anymore. I was a young woman then, and I was still making decisions. And I really remember one time, and I was babysitting, and this program came on the TV, and I suppose maybe this is the stern of something awakening. I was maybe 17 or so, and there was this program that came on. And it was like, it was a woman's story who had been sexually abused, and she'd become promiscuous, and she became a prostitute, and she had all of these multiple personalities. And I was looking and I was going, oh my God, I could live that journey if I don't stop and take stock of some of the actions that it was like I was watching a program of an older version of myself if I didn't start making different choices. And I had quite a few of those moments in my teen years up into my early 20s. And then it was the birth of my eldest daughter that really cemented something different and made a change, that because suddenly it wasn't about me anymore. And then God in his wisdom gave me my son soon after, because they knew, like, if she doesn't have a pregnancy straight away, it could have been very likely I would have went back to patterns and places and spaces and addictions, and that would have felt easy to drop back into. But with a pregnancy and 2 babies, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I had to. I could.
You could have.
I could have.
And there are people who do.
Yes.
But you chose.
I chose.
Yeah.
I made choices, and those choices weren't easy. And I had many a challenge in those choices, and I met many a moment where I failed miserably in those choices. But I had those opportunities in my 20s to really decide, what kind of a life do I want for me and my children? And it wasn't the life that I had been living. And so difficult choices were made to be more. Yeah.
And that is, like, to me, the crux of, even with all the trauma, and like, you and I are so about the trauma, like, you know what I mean? Because it's informed who we are.
Aye.
And there has to be this recognition, and this is a big thing for people. And if you're hearing this might trigger, and full disclosure that it might, but this lesson that I have learned in my life is 99% of what manifests in your life, you are responsible and accountable for.
Yeah. As an adult, yeah.
Yeah, as an adult.
As an adult. Yeah.
Not a child, as an adult.
Yeah.
And it is chosen.
Aye.
And that can be right down to I know this sounds crazy, but the broken arm, or the accident, or you might be like, how are you? There is, and this is where the energetics and all comes back in, but there's this piece that of real, like, the compassion and the grace is matched with the radical accountability and responsibility.
And honesty with ourselves.
Yes.
There was so many moments where I had to get really honest with myself about my own self-destruction and my choosing in that.
Yep.
And, you know, and there was a lot of pain that I had created and that I had caused other people as well. And it wasn't, I wasn't a horrendous person or anything like that. I was living my trauma out loud.
Yes.
That's what I was doing. And when I became aware of that, as in I became aware and I started to, I actually remember a woman giving me a book called You Can Do It or something, or it was a red and white book. And it was all about affirmations and changing the thoughts and the minds. And I thought, and I was doing like a wee course, like a wee retraining course with the 2 babies and stuff. And it wasn't like that it was a big or like a big massive course, but it was enough to give me the confidence to go back to college, say, right? Things like that. And she handed me this wee book. I think she was into hairdressing or something, but it was all these older women. I used to meet all these random older women in my early mothering years who really probably were not that random, really, because they gifted me something that said, you can be more and you will be more. And I met them in my part-time jobs and all the other places and spaces. Nothing's random.
No, never.
Not as random as we think.
No. But the fact that you did the work, and that's like, ultimately there is the personal accountability and responsibility. I don't mean that's a rod you beat your back with.
No, definitely not. Not to
it's
shame.
the responsibility to be accountable to you, to be like, fuck me, I fucked up there. I messed up. And I was really hard on myself. Like, I was so hard. I hated myself. I remember explaining even to Jason about a piece of inner child work that I had to do with all of my trauma, and I had this piece where I was like, I wanted to strangle my inner child. She was in a cave. She was feral. She was spitting at me. She's like, I'm abandoned. I'm like, you know, and like, and I wanted her to drown in
Whatever it was that you were.
this water started rising, and she did. It was like she died, but she was reborn, and it was all like there's a whole journey with it. But like seeing that bit and being like, oh my God, the heartbreak of going, how much I have abandoned myself by not acknowledging this piece of my journey. Or well, it wasn't. I didn't know it was there to be acknowledged, but you know, like all this stuff, and like. That is the accountability and responsibility I'm talking about. It's going, owning that this is mine.
Yeah.
And that's a loving act.
It is an act of self-love, and it is an act of genuine care for yourself and the people that you love, because you not doing this work impacts the people you love. Yeah. And there's definitely there's definitely areas of my life where my impact hasn't always been positive or loving. You know, and sometimes isn't still, like, you know, because I'm a human being that makes mistakes still. Yeah. But I'm a human being that looks at myself honestly as best I can, and really does make the effort to go, right, I could have been better there. Yeah. I could have made a more loving choice for myself in that moment, or for my child in that moment, or for my partner, my husband, or whoever it is. And really honouring the parts and pieces all along the way. Because really what we all want to do is be loved and love in return.
And that's it. And all of this work, the energy work, the priestess path, all like... being the mentor, it's all holding space and giving others permission by embodying it and walking it and sharing it. Even like this, I hope will be such medicine for people, and I know it will, because it's us saying the truth of humanity and the human experiences. None of us are perfect, and that doesn't take away from your experience. That doesn't take away from your inner work. It doesn't take away from the outer work of like certificates. It doesn't take away from you being an authority in this world. It doesn't. Your traumas don't define you unless you let them. And then in another way they do, because it's through your journey of like freaking working through them that creates you even more being in this space of love.
But even that part and piece that everybody has a version of you in their mind that's true for them, and it's different. Every single person like sees and feels you different. Do you know, my experience of Ruth is different to Jason's experience of Ruth, or her mother's experience of Ruth, or whatever. And it's the same for me. And there's people from our past and present life and even future life yet to meet us will experience us all differently. And we will have been a catalyst for some, and we will have been a gift for some, and we've been an absolute curse and pain in the arse for some.
It's so true. And and the gift of this, and what I really feel to land on this before we finish, is the gift of this is understanding that all of that is okay. And we're all on the journey, and we're all walking ourselves home and each other home. And that, yes, and even when I'm saying about the trauma and the accountability and responsibility, it's compassion again, and it's grace. But it is also owning stuff. And that is like the trauma we have received, and the trauma that we have caused, because there's times we cause it.
We absolutely do.
And that's maybe part to do with the loop of our story and blah, blah, blah. We could go on all day. But it's that like...
we could talk for weeks.
Absolutely. We'll have another podcast just on that alone. But the key to it all is knowing that this is the duality of life, that you are all of these things. You are the divine, and you're human. You're the divine having a human experience. That's why you came here, and the beauty is in all of that imperfection. It's in all the messiness.
The messiness is the gift, like, isn't it?
That's why you came here. So you are a miracle, and even these experiences are all part of that miracle.
100%. It's a gift.
It is. So before we finish, I always ask, well, first of all, thank you for that, because we went on a whole woo, that went all over.
I can't wait to hear it back. I have no idea.
Where did we go? What did we talk about? Where did we go? Yeah, I know. But before we come to a close, I always ask everyone, what is like one sentence or practice or like phrase that has really supported you in your journey of healing to illuminate or illumination?
Honestly, it's been making the mundane sacred, making the ordinary moments sacred. And it's so simple. It can be as simple as lighting a candle, anointing the crown. And a wee saying has been, I am love, I feel love, I see love. And then someone encouraged me many years ago to say, I am loved at the end of that. So that's that I am love, I feel love, I see love was a sentence given to me by the angelic beings in 2009. And I just kept saying it and saying it and saying it.
I am love.
I am love, I feel love, I see love.
And I see
See
love.
love. And I am loved.
The great I am.
Yeah.
The ever present. That is the truth of what we are, loved and loved. Ah, thank you for that. Thank you so much for sharing and for being courageous and for being all of who you are.
Thank you.
And for allowing me to be all of who I am in turn, because that is the gift that you have given me. You have given me that gift to own parts of myself that I had cast into the shadows, and you've held those parts of me as well. And to be able to, like I have said, it's like, you know, when you're lying in the dark with your partner, the person you feel safest with in this world, and I would hope that is your lover, if you have one, for example, or a family member, or like a soul family member, that you can lie in the dark, and those things that are like it's like a baby's first words, they're all crackly. It's like you're speaking them into the world for the first time ever. You're validating and owning and speaking these really vulnerable parts of you that are like, I say to my sister-in-law, it's like we have this treasure chest that's dropped into the very depths of the ocean of your being, and everything's in there, and you're like, I'm never looking at that. Nope. But this is, you know, the places where you can bring that out and actually open the chest and go, right, I'm going to take each thing out. You've been that. Here. You've been that for me. I truly, I have been able
so beautiful to hear. Thank you so much.
To bring out parts of me that I haven't done with anyone else. Like, but I have done that with you in the madness that has been these spaces, and like, so thank you so much for that, and for being you all of who you are, and it's been a real like privilege and honor to illuminate you and your work.
Thank you so much
by you being here.
This is just beautiful. I just love these conversations
too,
because these conversations is where I get to really be myself as well. So thank you for gifting me the space, truly. And thank you for coming into my life. Like,
yes, well,
I actually just saw the other day, I think it was 7 years ago or something. So it's like it's been a wee cycle of like, so this is really beautiful too. Do you know, this wee cycle of returning and spiraling back into each other's lives in a really beautiful way.
Even deeper and
more true. Do you know, it's always deeper and always more true. Yeah. And that's even like a more beautiful gift.
It is.
Itself, you know.
It is. I will be tagging all of Genevieve's magical things that she's doing. Oh yes, that's right.
Dying to know the card I picked.
So and as we always do, we have a deck here, and I'm not sure if we've used this deck before, but it just was right to use the Magdalene Oracle deck because of your work with the Mary Magdalene. We didn't even touch on like the retreat and Mary Magdalene work. We'll have to have a podcast on that on its own, because it's such beautiful work, and I know people will be listening going, well, what is Mary Magdalene work? What is priestess work? What is the pilgrimage? And I really feel like we need to speak to that, because that is a whole other piece. But this is the Magdalene deck, and I shuffled and we set an intention for the podcast as we always do. And Genevieve pulled the card, and the card was the Judgment.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, guys.
Look at this card.
Oh, would you hear this for first sentence? And it's just like, of course, it always weaves in so beautifully. Love and accept all of who you are as you are.
Wow. There we go. That's it. That's all you need to do,
guys.
That's
it. Done.
So easy.
So easy. Done, does it. Oh, every trait serves a purpose. And until you see the light within you, you will not see the light in others.
Yes.
How you feel about the world around you is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. Everything you see in others reflects something in you. This is everything we've been talking about. You draw people, situations, and events into your life that reflect what you are yet to love about yourself.
Oh my goodness, you couldn't make it up.
No, as you journey through life, you grow in wisdom, and eventually you will realize that many of your perceptions of good and bad, of right and wrong, were simply illusions.
Well, there you
Boom!
go. There you go.
And there is the complete, like, summary conclusion of this podcast, because
Yeah.
that's literally everything I feel like we've talked about.
I
in
feel
this
so.
space.
I feel so, and hopefully you really get something from it.
Yeah, I hope that there's medicine in what we've shared. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, if you're watching on YouTube, and listening if you're listening on Spotify. And whenever this lands in your ears, please do reach out if there's something that really landed, because we love to hear
Yeah.
about that. And Genevieve has lots moving on her world. By the time this podcast airs, some of these things that we've talked about will have passed, but there is always more work coming. Always, because that's just the nature of being,
Who we
a
are.
generator, 6'2", human design,
Yes.
and in touch with the feminine. She is the creative force. So we are going to always be
Yeah.
creating and gifting, and that's our path. So
Yeah.
please do check out all of the beautiful things that are being gifted. But just to conclude and say, from my heart and womb to yours, thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to give you a hug.
Thank you.
Honestly, that was so beautiful.
Thank
I
you,
love
everybody.
that. Bye.
Bye.